Dumelang baratiwa, welcome back to my channel. My name is Letty for those who don't know me, and we go by the name Modern Mom Lifestyle. And in this channel we do all things motherhood, lifestyle, and all things fun. So guys, today I come back with yet another video, guys. So it is a bit gloomy, so I think this video is gonna be a little bit dark because I'm like struggling to get like some light in here, but unfortunately guys, I have to do it now because this is the only time I have, because like I've been trying to shoot this video for a very long time, so I've got very limited time. Even now guys, the kids have to eat and all that, so I've got a very limited time. So I'm just gonna go on with this video. So this video guys is just gonna be like all about how I grew up, because people want to know. I'm also drinking my matcha tea in here, guys. It is cold, so I'm trying to warm myself up because I just bathed. So guys, this video is all about how I grew up, and many people were interested in knowing how I actually grew up, guys. And I don't know if I'm gonna be able to keep this video short, but I want to keep it as short as I can, like as short as possible. So guys, yeah, let me just start with this video. Actually, yeah, let me just start with it. So guys, I was born ko Seshego, guys. Like I was born and raised there. Ke belegetse ko sepetlele sa Seshego. Like I think I always say that gore ke belegetse ko sepetlele sa Seshego. So I am from Seshego, guys. And my actually how we came to Seshego, guys, like I didn't stay in like the rural places, like go my grandmother and my grandfather are coming from, because of like the dynamics of the family and all the things that happened back then before we were even uh born. So yeah, there were just so many things happening before we were even born. So just a little background: my grandmother is from Ramatlala Kostumong, guys. She's from Ramatlala, and she got married go Hamaja. Like it's a very big distance from Hamatlala to Hamaja. I don't know how they actually ended up like that, but from my grandmother's mouth, she said they met when my grandfather was doing construction, like where they were staying, and then yeah, that's how the relationship began. And then after that they had kids, they got married and all that. But my grandmother ran out of her matrimonial home to back home, but she didn't actually go back home. She went to town and stay in town, and that's where like coming to Seshego started. And then she came to town and she was renting Seshego, and she left her kids at home. And then like after some time, after she has settled up in all those things, that's where she went and picked her kids up, and then they went to stay go Seshego Zone 1. That's where they started staying, Seshego Zone 1. And then yeah, and then from there, so my grandmother got remarried again, and she got married to a Tsonga man. And actually we never got to meet that man because they were divorced. So yeah guys, we actually never had time to meet him because they were divorced even before we actually were born. So yeah, that was basically it, like when it comes to my grandmother. So that's how she left her home and her matrimonial home, and then they went to stay Kopolokwane. Then that's how they stayed go Barakeng ko Seshego. So like that's how our family started. Yeah guys, so that is how we actually ended. Oh my god, what is this now? Yeah guys, so that is how we ended up Seshego, because of all those dynamics that were happening around that time, those family dynamics, so that we were not even part of. To be honest, we were not even part of, because by that time we were not even born. So now I'm gonna start where I was born, when I was born. So I was born gona ko Seshego, ko zone 8, I mean ko bathong So I was born hona ko Seshego ko sepetlele sa zone 1 ko Seshego hospital. So I was born there, and then we were staying ko zone 1. I remember, okay guys, I don't even remember, but by that time we were staying ko zone 1. Ko Mkashong. That's yeah, that's how it started. We were staying ko zone 1, and that's where this whole thing of growing up started. But I wasn't in school by that time, because when I started school we were staying, like we were already staying ko zone 8. So around that time, I think by woman 94, 95, I don't remember exactly, that's where my grandmother atola staying ko zone 8, and then ba ahamukuku, we were staying Komkukung. So Baaha Mukuku there, and then we stayed Komkukung. And I remember when we were staying Komkukung, I was already in school. I was already in primary by that time, but they started building even before like Kia High School, because I remember by the time Kia High School, like the whole building was finished and all that. So yeah, we went Rayodula ko zone 8, Komikukung, and then also, guys, I'm not gonna say much about that, because some of the stories around that time is blurry, mainly because Lina, I was still young by that time, guys. I was still in primary, and then when I was in high school already, like dintho ne setse di thoma go bonalanyana. So I also we were staying with my grandmother, so that's how we started staying with my grandmother. She got a stand there, and then Razamaya Rayudula with my grandmother, and my mom was working, and also my dad was working. So both my parents were working, so there was no way that we're gonna stay with them, because they were both working, and Libona never worka like dilo tsa bodi shift. They were not working like only Montsegare and all that. They were also working shifts, so there was no way that we can stay with them, because most of the times they are not around, they're at work. And also Nevadula in town, and Rona Neridula ko zone 8 my grandmother. So that's how we started staying with my grandma. And then we stayed with my grandma, and my grandma was one hell of a strict grandmother. Like, she was so strict, and she was so strict in such a way that somehow and sometimes it actually came across as somebody who was abusive, because she was beating a hell out of us, guys. She was beating a hell out of us, and she was beating me mostly because I was the firstborn. Actually, I was the older one. Let me not say the firstborn. I was the older one, and there was my younger brother from my aunt, and she was just he was just 2 years younger than me. So my grandma used to beat me up more, and most of the time she used to say it's because I was a girl child, and you have to when it comes to girl children and all that, of which I feel like that is where our parents back then, they lost it, because they felt like it was more necessary to look after a girl child and groom them and mold them than grooming a male child. That's why most males are the way they are, because most of our parents, they didn't want to mold them and groom them the way they were grooming us. Because I feel like every child, they need grooming. Every child needs grooming. They need molding. They need care. They need attention. They need that love from parents. So she was more concentrating on us than them. So that's how I felt like she came across as someone that was abusive, because she used to beat me more than the boys and the small children, because I was the older one. Like, I was the one that, like, every time when there's something, I'm always the one to be blamed, because I was the older one. So yeah, I don't know, maybe that's what happens when you are an older child, and when the younger ones and all that. Maybe that's what happens, but I felt like it tends to be abusive when it and on some type of way. I don't know, like, I just feel like it abusive somehow. So yeah, guys, that's how we started staying with my grandmother. And then yeah, my mom was working and my dad was working. I remember my mom used to come hanalo off. When she's off, she'll come and see us. I used to be so happy to see her at Iloko High, like to see her coming back home and spending some time with her. And then immediately when she leaves, that's where the sadness comes. Like that's like Nikifila depressed every time I saw her leave. Like at that point, I remember there was some time where I felt like it was better if she wasn't working and she was here all the time. Maybe the treatment will be better, because I felt like my grandmother treated me much better when my mom was around than when she's not around. When she's around, she'll like treat us like normal and the same and all that. But when my mom wasn't around, like she'll treat me bad. She'll treat me really bad. So I felt more happier when my mom was around than when she wasn't. So I feel like we didn't have much time to spend with my mom, because obviously, as I said from my other videos and all that, that she passed. So I feel like we didn't have much time to spend with her. Like we didn't have that kind of motherly and daughter love, because she was not there most of the times, and not by choice, but obviously because she wanted to provide for us. So I do understand on that part. So yeah, we were mostly raised by my grandmother, and uh, I think that's the part that people wanted to know, like to know why am I mostly talking about my grandmother and my other family members than my mom and dad. And then it happened that in 2009. Okay, before I talk about 2009, my mom had like this family friend. We have this family friend which my mom utlhakanele bona at work, and then the husband was a soldier. And because I was around nako tseo tsa go ya ko grade 12, and then around that time where I was applying to go places and all that, I also applied to go to the army. So they were the one guiding me like through that and all that. And I think my mom, I remember by the time it was January, I wanted to like choose where I wanted to go. So my mom felt like it was much better for me to go to the army, because at the army I was going to get paid, and then after getting paid I can just go to school when I'm in the army and do whatever and all those things. That's what she felt, of which she was like, of which to me it was like kind of something that she was choosing for herself than for me. But I ended up going to the army, because also she told me like about the other places that, you know what, yes, you can go to university and all that and ing, but going to the army was an option at that time. So I went to the army. I remember, guys, I don't really remember the exact date, but I think it was around the 16th when we left to the army. It was around the 16th of January in 2009. I went to the army, and on the 23rd, I went to the army at the 16th of January, and on the 23rd, that's where my mom passed on. She passed on, and like getting like, to be honest, I don't know much also about my mom passing. All I knew it was that she had flu, and then she had flu from the day, I remember the day I left home. It was raining, and it was pouring rain. It was raining. I remember that time, we took that time in the maxi taxi. It was before this thing of the Uber and stuff. There was maxi taxis. I remember we took a maxi taxi from town. We went to town with taxis, and then after that we took a maxi taxi to go to the army base, yako Polokwane. So I remember that day it was raining. It was raining, and remember they were calling us one by one, kamabito and all that. So it was like we were staying outside, and then you wait for your turn to be called and all that. So it was something like that. I remember it was raining. So after that, my mom got flu. After that day, my mom got flu. Unfortunately, on the 23rd, she left us. So I left on the 16th of January, and then on the 23rd on the 23rd of February, she passed on. So it was only like a month after I left, and then she passed on the 23rd of February. She passed on, and after she passed on, guys, I remember my dad came to the funeral with his family and all that. But from there, guys, on the last day of the funeral, I think the following day, maybe Sunday, let me just say Sunday because the funeral was on Saturday. On Sunday, guys, after the funeral and everything, on Sunday, guys, my dad left and he never looked back. So that's how my dad left the picture. He never looked back. He never looked back. I didn't know what was happening about him. I didn't know anything. We were not even communicating. We were not even saying anything to each other. Like nothing, guys. Nothing. It came to a point where, guys, she was also married. She had a wedding apparently. But I mean, he. Why am I saying she? Apparently, he had a wedding with his wife and all that. But guys, we were not even invited. And I remember there was this cousin of mine who asked me on my Facebook and asked her, how I thought we are gonna see you at your father's wedding. So Ogupi. I was like, oh, really? I didn't know there was a wedding. And truthfully, honestly, I didn't know. I didn't know there was a wedding. And it turned out the person that she married is the same person that was making her and my mother fight because he had a child with that woman. So I really don't want to dive in too much into that story. But that same person that he married is the same person that was umakwapeni by the time my mom was still alive, and they had a child together. And that's the same person that made them fight and all those things. But he went ahead and married that person, and I don't know, they're still married even now, because by now in Ghana they have 2 or 3 children. I don't know, but they have children. They don't have a child anymore, because by that time it was only a child, but now they have children, which I think maybe they are 3 or 2. I don't know. I don't know. I really don't know. But we actually reunited, I think in 2012 when I came to Joburg, because I was in the army in Bloemfontein. Then in 2009, I came to Joburg, and that's where we reunited. I remember I even asked him to accompany me to go and look for a car, my first car in 2012. And yeah, we went and looked for a car, and then I ended up buying the car that he actually recommended and all that. Yeah, so that's how we reconnected. Although the relationship is not that good, it's only the hello, how are you thing. Um, but yeah, that's how he went out of the picture. So yeah, guys, I think the story ends there, and because the main thing is because you guys wanted to know like what happened, like around the time I was growing up, and how did it happen that I I'm raised by my grandparents. So yeah, that is the reason, guys. My mom passed on, and my dad decided to leave us, and yeah, now ke rona ba re godile, guys. We are old, and now we even have our own families. And yeah, guys, I think this is the end of the video. And if you guys liked the video, please don't forget to give it some thumbs up, and also subscribe if you are not subscribed, guys, so that we can grow this family. We are almost on 1,000 subscribers, guys, because we are on 600 and something. We are going there, guys. We are going there. We are almost there. Please help us, help me get there, guys. I'm used to saying us because I usually include Hubi in everything that I say. I hope that is not weight. I hope it's not weight. So yeah, guys, I think this is the end of the video, and I hope you enjoyed the video, and please don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And yeah, guys, I'll see you on another vlog or another video. Bye.